and debate.
So this is what I'm doing with you.
Right.
I'll stand here and debate with
right.
you.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Great.
Right.
So let me answer the question.
Attributes.
Before we start, bro, I have to let you know that I'm leaving soon.
Yeah, that's fine.
So, like, this is not going to be a long debate.
Okay, that's fine.
Right, but fair enough. You asked me a question. What are the attributes of God? Here's some of the attributes of God. God is love. God is spirit. God is one. God is Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
No.
God is all powerful. God is all knowing. God is all present. God is the giver of prophecy and the giver of gifts. God is the giver of the fruits of the Spirit. God is creator. God is sustainer. God is redeemer. God is resurrector. God is the first. God is the last. God is all virtue and all truth embodied. Enough?
Okay.
Is that enough, or do you want more?
No, yeah, that's enough for now. If you want to give more afterwards, good. Would you include narcissism in that?
Okay. So is God narcissistic? No.
No. Okay. So, you said earlier, people that reject Christ will be condemned to burn forever.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. So, essentially, he says, you must worship me or you will forever, all eternity, suffer. Narcissism. Also, would you say ignorance was an excuse?
Right.
So somebody that hasn't been taught about Christianity, will they be accepted into heaven or will they be condemned for lack of knowledge?
Right, so allow me to address both the point that you made and then the question. So ladies and gentlemen, why is it that those that don't accept God are condemned to hell according to the Christian belief? It's simply this. If you do not accept God, you are in rebellion. You are in rebellion against your ruler. You are in rebellion against your Lord. You are in rebellion against your King. Who is in any doubt that if we were to rise up in insurrection against the state, that the state would not punish us for the crime of rebellion? Right now in this country, we have lies spread against thousands of people who are being thrown into prison because they are being described as far right, and they're being thrown into prison for years for merely memeing something or tweeting something. How much more would the state rebel? How much more would the state punish us if we rebelled against our rulers?
But you're comparing us
wait, don't interrupt or I'll interrupt you. Let's have a calm debate. You made a point, I'm replying to your point. So, when you rebel against God, the punishment is hell. But God in His mercy has and does call out to us through His church founded by Jesus Christ to accept forgiveness that He offers liberally and generously to all. Now the question was, what about ignorance? Is that an excuse? The Bible teaches that there is no excuse because there is no ignorance. A man who looks at nature can know that he has a creator. And one who knows that he has a creator will know that he must worship his creator. And so, ladies and don't interrupt till I'll interrupt you. And so, ladies and gentlemen, there is no one who has an excuse, because there is no one who lacks knowledge of his creator except by willful ignorance.
Right, but Jesus, you didn't say accepted God. Humans all over the world have some sort of spiritualness. We're looking for something. You said if you don't accept Jesus, you're going to hell.
Yeah.
Now, Muslims,
just keep going.
Any other religion, okay,
just keep going.
Why would they then be condemned to hell? If they believe in a greater power, they want to live their life morally by good standards, how would they be condemned to hell, some tribe in the Amazon, just because someone like you haven't walked up to them and told them about Jesus? In preaching Christianity, you are condemning people to hell that don't want to accept it and that have their own religion. That to me is a sign of a narcissistic God. Worship me or you're done in hell.
Right.
And that's what I don't understand. That's what I struggle to.
Is it about worship?
Wait. No, bro. Let us have a debate. Right, guys. He asked about. He's referencing the fact that as a Christian, I believe you must accept Jesus Christ. I absolutely do believe that. However, ladies and gentlemen, the scriptures teach us that you are judged according to what you know. So one who does not know about Jesus Christ is not judged on what he does not know. He is judged on what he does know. Now, ladies and gentlemen, in Romans chapter 1 verse 18 it says this: "For the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men who suppress the truth in unrighteousness, because that which is known about God is evident within them, for God made it evident to them." So Paul is saying that in nature you can see that which is righteous and that which is right and wrong. How do you know this? Why? Don't interrupt. If you interrupt me again, I'll start interrupting you and you'll complain. I'll interrupt you and you'll start complaining. Or if you keep interrupting, I'll just stop. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the scripture is teaching that you can know that there is a God by just looking at creation. If you know that you have a creator, you know naturally that you must have thankfulness to your creator. If you know that you have a creator, you know that your neighbor has a creator. If you know that your creator created you for a purpose, you know that your neighbor is also created for a purpose, and so you know that you should treat your neighbor as yourself. Right. In other words, thank you, that's right. That's right. So in other words, ladies and gentlemen, you are judged based upon what you know. Now, how does that then correspond to Jesus? Let me land. This is your argument I'm responding to. So that means that those who don't know about Jesus will be judged on what they do know. Those that know about Jesus will be judged on how they respond to the person of Jesus. Those that reject Jesus unto hell, and those that accept Jesus unto salvation, just like those that accept their Creator unto salvation, and those who reject their Creator unto hell if they don't know about Jesus.
My last question, I have to go.
Go on.
My last question.
So to clarify,
No, I'm talking
ignorance then is an excuse. If you haven't been taught Christianity, as long as you live your life by morals, like I say, I don't subscribe to any religion, but I'll use my life by
Do you want me to quickly clarify that in one sentence?
Okay.
People will be judged by what they know, not by what they don't know. Yeah. So ignorance is not an excuse. You will be judged based upon what you know.
Yeah, so if you don't know something, that means you're ignorant of it.
But you will be
ignorance is if I choose
but
to
you won't
reject
be.
it.
But you won't be judged on that.
Yes, so exactly.
You'll be judged on what you do know.
Yes, fantastic.
Right.
So I
in
would
other
go
words,
to heaven.
in other words, it isn't. You're not saved through ignorance. You're saved through accepting what you do know.
Yeah, so basically, a non-Christian can go to heaven, is essentially what I'm getting at.
Yeah, if they don't know, so for example, I'll give you an example.
But then people going to preach Christianity then condemns people to hell that don't want to choose it.
Let me give you an example. Let me give you an example. So let's pretend that there's some animist, right, who believes in spirits of his ancestors, right, who never ever gets to hear about Jesus Christ. Never even comes up, right? But that animist, through the use of his own reason, through reflection upon creation, comes to understand because it's all there in creation, it's all evident in creation. That he has a creator that loves him, that cares about him, that embraces him, right? And he, because of the love that he acknowledges in creation that's been shown towards him, he then tries to live a life of love to everyone else in his tribe. In other words, he is as much as a Christian as he can be without being a Christian. He can be saved, and that is the teaching of Christianity. Anyone who teaches something different hasn't thought through Christian doctrine properly.
Yeah, so non-Christians can go to heaven, which is fantastic.
If they accept,
If they live their life, like God knows everybody's heart. So he knows even if you haven't had the opportunity to know about Christianity or any other
you're about to
religion.
say something that's wrong, I feel.
Okay.
It's not if they live their life as in doing things, it's if they accept the truth that is available to them and then live accordingly. It's the acceptance of the truth that saves you.
So yeah, accepting that there's some greater power is the reason.
Not
that you're
some
here.
greater power, a creator.
A creator, yeah, the creator is the greater power.
The thing is you're trying to make it just generic. I'm saying that it has to be specific.
Like you're saying a conscious entity.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you
But
believe,
I think that creation doesn't have to be out of consciousness.
right, so let's go back to the animist. So let's go back to the animist in the village. If an animist came to believe that some cosmic energy created them, right, but did not understand that that cosmic energy would, is a personal loving God, then I would be far more in doubt that they would be included amongst those that are saved. Because nature doesn't point towards an accident, it points towards a designer. And a designer is a conscious mind. Would you like me to demonstrate that to you?
Yeah, you can do.
Alright. And then after I've demonstrated it, I'm going to have to bring this to a close once you've replied. So I'm going to take you through the steps of an argument. Do you accept that maths is a language?
Math is a language, yes.
Right. Do you accept that languages must emerge from mind? In other words, you can't have a language without mind. So premise one, maths is a language.
No, actually.
You're saying it's not a language?
No, I'm saying math is a language.
Thank you.
But to communicate and have language, you don't need.
No, can you have languages without minds?
Without mind. Okay, no.
Right, so premise one, maths is a language. Agreed. Premise two, you can't have languages without minds. Agreed? Right. Premise three, mathematics is found in the universe around us. We discover mathematics.
Discover maths.
In the universe.
We use maths to describe a reality.
We discover, let me explain why we discover mathematics. So the mathematics that we use to describe the universe is on such a grand scale, it's like 10 to the power of 4 or 10 to the power of 7.
Depends what you measure,
Right?
but yeah.
Right, exactly. It's of such a precise nature that it is impossible for us to do those maths in our head. We can't do those maths in our head. We use computers, right?
We've got limits to our.
Exactly, which means that mathematics is being discovered in nature because the numbers are too big for us to think. We have to use computers to do the computations because no human can do the computations.
But what's that got to do with God?
Right. What that demonstrates is that we are discovering mathematics in nature.
We use mathematics to describe reality. So we're not discovering a math. We will make an observation,
Right.
and then make measurements based on that. We're not discovering math. That is the language to describe our observation. So
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. You don't need an example. But what I'm trying to point out to you is that we are discovering observations that are so precise that no mathematician, even if all the mathematicians in the world sat in the same room, they couldn't do the computation. That's why we use supercomputers to do the computations in physics.
or even just my phone calculator.
Or even
my maths is shit.
Exactly, right. So my point is, it's your mathematics being shaped writ large across the whole of humanity.
Yeah.
We're discovering mathematical precision in nature. Do you accept that point? No, you don't.
No, we just use mathematics to describe, like, nature isn't giving us the maths. It's like a centimetre, okay, a ruler.
Okay.
It's mathematics, a measurement. When we
get
call
that.
that a centimetre, we call it an inch.
Yeah.
They're just variables of a measurement. We
Yeah.
don't discover the measurement, like time, for example.
We learn.
That is a description
One second.
of just the
One second.
passing of
I'm going to
existence.
prove you wrong now. Because if you look into childhood development, a baby learns to count before they can talk, and they learn to count from observation of nature.
But do you know what?
Wait, 1 second.
Learning to count
One
is
second.
needed as building your language.
1 second. But that's the 1
consecutively.
second. But the point is, what the point is, in terms of childhood development, and you can look this up, a child learns to count between me and my mother because of nature, because of the fact that me and my mother are not the same. In other words, literally, we learn to count because of nature. In other words, we are receiving mathematics from nature.
Okay, right.
Do you accept that?
No. So this is where you bring that child, right. The reason why children learn to count before they can learn to speak properly is because it's much simpler to learn 1 to 10 than learning words. A 5-letter string of words is much harder to contemplate or comprehend when you're a baby, okay? But 1, 2, all single syllables, much easier for a child to learn. That's why they would take on numbers before they then develop the language.
Let me ask you this question. Let's try and approach this the other way. So I've demonstrated, I believe, quite fairly, through 2 examples, that we receive maths from nature. Example number 1. Mathematics in physics is of such a precise nature, no human being can compute it. So we are discovering the precision of mathematics in nature. We aren't inventing it. Number 2, we learn to count even in the basics, 1, 2, 3, 4, from nature. The existence that 1, 2, 3, 4 can be seen is what teaches us to count. Now, but let me try to approach it from another angle. 2 plus 2 is true universally, always, and at all times. Do you agree or disagree with that statement?
I agree, that's why I prefer science over religion.
Thank you. Right. No, wait, no, I'm not. I'm having him. No, well, go then. I'm having a debate with him. So, ladies and gentlemen, he's just agreed that 2 plus 2 is always true, everywhere, all the time. So in other words, we have a truth that is eternal, universal, and absolute. What human language describes everything accurately, always, everywhere, and at all times? No human language does that. Which means that, and thank you, he said nothing, which means that mathematics is not from the mind of man. Mathematics is from the mind of another being that can speak always, everywhere, and at all times. Because 2 plus 2 is always true, everywhere it's true, all the time it is true.
One question I have.
Go and reply to that.
Reply to that, well, I just don't agree with the whole premise of what you've been saying about.
Tell me what's wrong with the premise.
Okay, so some maths can be wrong, yeah, and some old predictions of, say, like the celestial movements. Okay, they get more and more accurate over time as we get better and better at the mathematics.
As our observations get better and better.
Yeah, as our technology for observing get better.
Yeah, exactly.
As our observations get better. So, and then that can then slightly change what we may have thought previously. It doesn't mean, for example, like gravity. Newton and Einstein increased our understanding of gravity, but so Newton didn't have his full understanding of gravity. So over time, we're understanding more. That doesn't mean that there isn't God.
Right, can I reply?
Yeah.
Because the premise of the argument was not built on observation. I tried observation, you rejected it. I built the argument based on a rational consequence. If 2 plus 2 is true at all times, in all places, everywhere, then that means since it is mathematics and mathematics is a language.
all maths is
1 second. 1 second. Didn't interrupt you. That therefore mathematics is the production of an eternal infinite mind, because it is always true everywhere at all times. You have got to demonstrate what is wrong with the premises. Now you try to argue that not all mathematics is true. I want to point out that that is false logic. Why? Because all mathematics is true. However, not all mathematics has correspondence in nature. Not all mathematics describes nature accurately. Isaac Newton's description of gravity was not wrong. It was just incomplete. His mathematics was not wrong. There was just more maths to be discovered. And when Einstein discovered more maths, he discovered a better description of gravity. That is not to say that Isaac Newton's maths was wrong. There are examples of mathematical paradigms that don't have correlation to nature. But I would offer as counter-argument that there are examples of mathematical constructions that were invented before, ladies and gentlemen, the observation that proved the maths. One example would be the lensing of light around a black hole, or even the existence of a black hole. Mathematically, it was demonstrable, it was a logical consequence of the maths before the observation. We had Einstein's theory that gave us lensing of gravity and the existence of black holes before we observed either the lensing of light around a black hole or a black hole itself or around a galaxy. And so we had the maths before nature, showing that we are discovering maths in nature. Final point, when mathematicians talk about their work in maths, almost universally they talk about discovering mathematics, not inventing mathematics. Don't believe me? Go and ask a mathematician.
So on the black holes, the reason why Einstein came up with that is because he was observing interactions within other things.
Not true.
It wasn't, no?
Theoretician, he couldn't make a cup of tea.
Oh yeah, it was a theoretical,
No.
out of his mind, and then he...
No, you're both wrong. You're both wrong. Einstein was a genius, and his theory of relativity and special relativity has unlocked huge amounts and has been demonstrably proven again and again and again and again and again by application of his theory and by hypothesizing on his maths to things that we can expect to observe, and then later we observe them. One example is the lensing of light, and the other one is black holes, that were both predicted by the maths before they were observed.
And why
so
were
you're
they
both
predicted?
wrong.
Why were they
Did
predicted?
Einstein believe
Because
in
the
Jesus?
mathematics leads us to the consequence.
Did Einstein
So
believe
yeah,
in
It's like 2 plus 2 is true
he
all
looked
the
at
time.
Newton, he observed Newton's laws.
That's not why he came to that theory.
Why did he investigate it? Why did he theorise black holes and
Came up with ideas.
gravity?
I don't.
Came up with ideas.
No, it was. I can't remember exactly what it was, and so I'm not going to pretend. But what I can say, it wasn't that he wasn't investigating Isaac Newton's theory. He was doing something else, and I forget what it was.
He didn't do experiments. He couldn't make a cup of tea.
Brother, like, you're so wrong. Einstein was a genius,
I know,
and I'm not going to have the guy mocked. He was brilliant.
He was no
he never
Right,
believed in
bro, we're
Jesus.
just going to have to stop there. Brother, have you got a Bible?
I do actually, yeah.
Can you read
From
it?
my nan. Yeah, I do have a
Okay,
nan.
Right, I'd like to give you a debate.
Give me a guess. I'd like to give you
There you go. It's the Gospel of John for everyone. It's not a Gospel of John, it's a commentary on the Gospel of John. I hope it is a blessing to you and your education. Sorry we can't debate any longer, but
That's
I've got
fine.
it. Right, God bless you. Take care. Anyone who wants to join me for a cup of tea, you're more than welcome to join me. I'm going. No, I'm going. Sorry. Whose microphone's this? Thank you.
I'm going, but before I go, I accept the Bible. accept Jesus. Tell me, who I have to accept